get a lot of people say, oh, well, snoring's really normal. And I'm like, no, snoring's a breathing dysfunction. So snoring, so your tongue position in your mouth can affect whether you snore or not. So fundamentally, what I'd say is that snoring increases the older you get, and that's to do with your muscles, your tongue muscle, so 8 muscles in your tongue, and all the muscles kind of in your throat.
Okay.
And this can be fixed by seeing a breathing coach, basically. So if your tongue is on the bottom of your mouth, like I mentioned previously, your mouth is more likely to open. And if you lay on your back, so imagine laying on your back, the tongue is at the bottom of the mouth, your mouth is more likely to open.
Yeah.
And then your fatty deposits on your tongue, which add as you get older, they get more fatty deposits.
So is that from eating food?
No, it's just age and your muscle tone. So your muscle tone gets less as you get older, right? So you get less muscle tone in the tongue, more fatty deposits. If you are a bit overweight, you'll get the muscles around your throat, they get weaker as well.
That's interesting, because I always thought when people have talked associated being overweight to snoring, I always presumed it was the weight on your lungs.
Yeah, no, it's the throat and the fatty deposits on the tongue. Yeah, and so if you think about all of those things, they can all be corrected.
Yeah,
so
100%.
What we do is retrain the tongue to get strong again. So you look at it like a muscle, like in the gym. We work out the muscles of the tongue to get it in the right place. Don't encourage sleeping on the back for snoring as well. And then, there's lots of other things we do though, actually. There's loads of different exercises we do. We strengthen the diaphragm muscle, because your diaphragm is this huge, great, underrated muscle in the body. It's your primary breathing muscle.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, what diaphragm? No, it's huge. It's this like dome-shaped kind of jellyfish here, and it goes all the way around your whole body. It's huge. It separates all your digestive organs and your heart and your lungs, and it does this. And if you have a weak diaphragm, it will be doing this. It won't be working out properly. But when you breathe well, your diaphragm's moving like this, and it's really strong. Again, it's like a muscle that you have to work out, and it can get really weak too.
Right.
So the position of your tongue and how the fatty deposits and the weakness in the throat really affects snoring and can be corrected. Which is amazing, because everyone's like, I get a lot of wives saying, please
help me,
fix
the earplugs aren't working anymore.
And it's groundbreaking. You can do a few basic things and you can get quite immediate results, which also blows my mind.
So if you were to recommend someone to go and see a rep coach, how long do you reckon it would take? How many sessions do you reckon?
Yeah, good point. I always say 3 to start with, because we have to correct just general breathing dysfunction. It also takes a while for people to get in the habit of doing like breathing exercises. You know,
habits are hard to break, aren't they?
It is, and you have to kind of anchor your breathing exercises with something you do every day, which is why I always think 3 appointments is great, because you have an assessment, work out what's wrong, start some exercises, and then we adjust those, and then we make them harder. 3 minimum, but yeah, it can be, you can correct it and it can improve for sure. I mean, there's other things that go on with snoring, so you might have an issue like adenoids, that type of thing in the nose that can make it harder, or you might have a tongue tie that can make a difference, by the way. If you have a tongue tie, you can't then get your tongue to the roof of your mouth, so sometimes that needs to be addressed. So there are other things in play. So I say, majoritively speaking, that you can improve it quite quickly, as long as you are dedicated and wanting to change like your snoring habits, basically.
If, for example, someone came to you and you did determine it was something to do with tongue tie or something, you can technically diagnose it and then send them to where they need to go to get that.
Yeah, I mean, like, yes, I wouldn't, obviously I'm not a doctor, so like I wouldn't particularly... you would just
recommend...
Yeah, but obviously we have to fill in medical forms, so if someone will know that and they've told me that, I can say, you know, we can still correct your breathing pattern, your breathing dysfunction, but also you might need to work with a myofunctional therapist or someone like that. And more dentists, for example, by the way, are getting switched on to the breathing affects you. So if you mouth breathe, you're more likely to have more dental decay. And bad breath, for example, and the teeth positioning as well. I mentioned that earlier, but more dentists are getting clued up to breathing and how
Because
that
they talk
affects.
about like teeth grinding and stuff, don't they?
Yes.
So you shouldn't snore.
You shouldn't snore.